Pretty quick unboxing today, not something that you likely have not seen already, but this is going to be the first half of the story arc Rising Tide. It's time to unbox some new Heroscape. Let's take a look at what came out in February 2025. Let's see what I can do one-handed here, but first off, yeah, that's what I thought. Hold on. There was a tape in the way. First off, we have the Swamps of Valhalla terrain kit. We will dive into all of these a little bit. The Snowfields of Valhalla terrain kit. We have, which I've heard pronounced different ways, but I'm going to pronounce it the way I like, which is Hellforge Manticore. We've got that army expansion. We've got Sonlin and Halucia Scion of the Wild army expansion. And the Knight Primus Adalburn and Ordo Borealis Squad army expansion. A real quick look at what comes inside the Swamps of Valhalla. You got two of these plants, which are a recolor of the Grove at Lower's Edge bushes. And then there's 3 hex swamp water, some swamp hexes in 3, 7, 2, and 1, and single swamp water hex. And then we got some 24 swamp hexes right here. And here is a comparison of the new 24 hex and the old 24 hex for color comparison. Very close. Looks very good. On the table, without the light of the camera, it's still barely indistinguishable which ones are old and which ones are new. I mean, if you're obviously looking for it, yeah, you should be able to find it quite fast. But if not, this is a pretty great color comparison here. And Lee Huff has mentioned on the Discord they are trying to re-release all types of terrain that have existed between now and 2026. So potentially asphalt, concrete, shadow, and dungeon are also coming. But right now we know for sure there's molten lava, lava field, and road on the way, as well as a wall pack for the new walls that were released in the Age of Annihilation Master Set. But anyway, that has nothing to do with the swamp, so we press on. And of course, inside that box is a rules pamphlet. Inside the Snowfields of Valhalla box, we have 2 trees, some triple hex ice, single hex ice, single, triple, double, and 7 hex of the snow tiles. And then we got, of course, rules sheet, and what I think is pretty cool, 24 hex snow, so that's pretty neat. And when it wasn't one that was yellowed with age, this is an old white snow hex, and this is the new snow hexes. So the old ones, a lot of them tend to be damaged, yellowed, brown, etc., just from being played with out in the sun or storage or what have you. But this one came from an unopened pack from one of the waves, so that was probably one of the best ones I could find. It's white plastic, so I guess comparing it, it's not, I don't believe it's painted. Here is a new ice tile. Here is an old ice tile. This is a little bit of a foggier look to it. This has flecks, it looks like within the actual mold itself. Still pretty comparable. This looks much better in person than it did in the picture of old ice, wellspring water, and new ice that Lee had shared. It's on Board Game Geek and various other places that I have it. But that's the comparison of the old terrain and the new terrain. And just because, here's a comparison of the old Road to the Forgotten Forest tree and the Snowfields of Valhalla snow-covered tree. So they look pretty good. They look almost identical, I mean, with the exception of the snow and the brown and white hex bottoms. They look almost identical, except they're completely different. So, yeah. And now, opening them in terms of my least favorite of the new releases to my favorite, we have first off the Ordo Borealis, which is a 3-member unique squad of more bears. And just like the first bears, I'm going to have to paint teeth on these things. And we have Knight Primus Adalburn, which is okay. I think the weapon itself looks pretty stupid. I don't know, he looks like he's swinging a giant letter T or something. I don't know. It's a dumb looking hammer. But anyway, it doesn't matter what they look like technically, because how they play could be really fun. But anyway, just a quick look at the army cards for you, as last time I did not spend much time on the army cards, but you can take a screenshot or look at one of the many other videos of unboxings. I just like to take a quick look at stuff, don't like to dive too deep into it. But this is my least favorite of the 3 new army expansions. Let's move to the next. And then the next pack is going to be a returning character, Sonlin, who was not mounted in his first iteration. The dragon was actually on his shoulder. But we have the Archmage Sonlin, and we have the Wizard Helucia, Scion of the Wild. Sonlin looks pretty good. They're getting closer on not having the flesh look weirdly gray or brightly yellow or something. Still might touch him up a little bit. The dragon looks much better than it originally did when I first saw it. Could use a little bit of shadow, but the face doesn't look as long and pointy as it did in a lot of the photos or 3D renders. The dragon actually looks kind of cool. Then we have Helucia, Scion of the Wild. I really like this figure. It looks pretty neat to me. It doesn't scream wizard to me, as in he has a sword and shield, but whatever. Nothing says a wizard has to be a stereotypical wizard. As with the peanut-based figures from the re-release, he's got a little bit of a wobble to him, but I believe some hot water with a cold water shock after that should fix that. But not bad. And finally, my favorite of the new releases is Hellforge Manticore. And this figure I've been waiting for a while. I really like how he plays. How he looks is kind of going to get... it's going to grow on me, I think. He looks a little bit like a mechanical cacodemon or something from Doom with centipede arms. I don't know. You can't really say he looks like anything else because he looks like himself. But, yeah. Pretty beefy figure. That was a quick look at the first half of the story arc Rising Tide. The second half comes out in April, I believe, is when they estimate shipping. The street date for this one is February 21st, 2025. Pre-orders, I believe, are still open, and they are all shipping out. So, I mean, if you want to get them, go get them. If not, it'll be February 21st when you should start seeing these on shelves.